Anaphora. Anaphora. What is an anaphora? It's the repetition of a word or phrase at the beginning of a successive clause or line. An anaphora is a scheme rather than a trope because a scheme focuses on word order, pattern, and the arrangement of words. An anaphora, by definition, is the arrangement of words or just one word repeated at the beginning of a clause, whereas a trope refers more to metaphorical and figurative languages. An anaphora is most commonly seen in poetry, speeches, and essays, because it engages the audience in a particular emotional experience using pathos. It also makes points more memorable because of their placement at the beginning of the sentence and the repetition of that phrase. However, the anaphora has the opposite effect if used too often or not correctly. Points become less memorable and the audience becomes less engaged. This is a simple example of an anaphora. It reads, "I'm tired of you telling me what to do. I'm tired of you yelling at me. I'm tired of you." This is an anaphora because it has repetition of a phrase, "I'm tired," at the beginning of each sentence. This creates emphasis on this phrase and also makes the reader connect emotionally to the feeling of "I'm tired." Our next example is from the Winston Churchill speech, "We shall fight on the beaches." It reads, "We shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence, growing strength in the air. We shall defend our islands, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight on the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender." So this speech uses pathos and also the anaphora with the repetition of "we shall" at the beginning of each phrase to connect the reader emotionally to this particular speech. Also, it makes the points more memorable because of the repetition and the placement at the beginning of the sentence. Our next example is from William Shakespeare's The Life and Death of King John. It reads, "Mad world, mad kings, mad composition." And although simple, the repetition of "mad" at the beginning of each phrase makes this an anaphora. And it also makes it concise and also relatable to the reader because of the repetition. Our last example is one you've probably read before. It's Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech. I'm not going to read it all, but I'll analyze the anaphora in this example. So at the beginning of each phrase, it starts with "Let freedom ring," and this repeats on until the sixth line where it says, "But not only that, let freedom ring," and continues on until the very last line. This is an anaphora because it's the repetition of "let freedom ring" at the beginning of each clause except for the very last one. This creates an emotional connection with the audience, which Martin Luther King Jr. was trying to do. Also, it creates memorable images in the listener's mind.